Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of FPL Apprentice. Still the only podcast in the series that delves into the minds of one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Former FPL world number one on FPL tools and top 5 point scorer in FPL over the last decade. It is, of course, my co-host, Mr. Matthew Corbridge. Matt, how has your week been?
Hello, mate. Yeah, very, very good. FPL wise, we are recording this on Wednesday, so we've still got a game to go tomorrow, which I think will dictate directions of game weeks. But yeah, it's was it 4 weeks to go now? 4 weekends to
4 weeks.
go. All the relegation placed in the Premier League have been sorted. The champions have been
Red.
decided. Yeah, like all my chips have been played as well, which is kind of like cool. So yeah, we'll talk about both our free hit teams, right? I think for a lot of
Yeah.
people who played it, it was like almost a perfect week, which is really cool. Yeah, so I'm feeling good. What about yourself? You got to be happy with the league win. Although
Well,
it's been kind of
yeah.
like pretty much inevitable since November, but
Yeah, but as a Liverpool fan, you never see it that way. You're like, until it's done. It's till it's done. I did start to believe towards the end. But yeah, very, very suffer. Like I know that I'm getting closer to 40. I can't drink like I used to. So Sundays, drinking and watching the league took me till maybe Tuesday to recover. Right,
yeah,
but we're okay now. We're okay for this pod. And a very good week in FPL, which we'll come on to. So I think my second best game week rank of the season so far. I've got a player to go in that game tomorrow, so we'll see how I end up. But well, let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. But we'll just run through what we're going to touch on today. So we will review Game Week 34, in which we both played those three hits. And then it's really about planning for the rest of the season. As you say, Matt, 4 game weeks to go. So we'll have a look at the fixture ticker for those 4 game weeks, have a look at the expected points for each position, looking at the top 10 according to what Fix expect them to get each game week. And then we'll have a look at the Game Week 35 captain, because that seems a little bit up in the air. It's not really a set and forget on Salah, or it might be. We'll get your opinion on that later on, Matt. Before we look at our own team reveals, a mini league update, and then finish on Matt versus Dave. But game week 34 is where we will start. And as always, mate, we will start with your team. A pretty decent week by all accounts, 93 points.
yeah. Well, so far so good. Obviously, the caveat here is that there's a fairly big game due tomorrow, right? Where a lot of the heavily on Brentford players, particularly on Bumo, Visa, kind of playing. So yeah, I'll definitely kind of like um, fall down a couple of ranks. But yeah, like a lot, I played the free hit, which the big was the big news. I'm sitting at a 74k game week rank, which I think it might haven't checked, but I believe it must be my best of the season. And yeah, even if Umbumo, even if Visa, even if but Evan Nelson was an interesting story. It'd be interesting to see whether his red card gets rescinded in the game because it's been rescinded right outside
During the
of
game week.
FPL. So
Interesting.
that'll be an interesting one. That could shift
Yeah.
things around. But yeah, all those things considered, it's still kind of really really good. Yeah, I think we spoke about last week. Both our teams were decimated really, so it kind of really did force to do a free hit. And yeah, like I think for a couple of seasons it's been a tough old slog with free hit, but yeah, this one came through, and I think super tough for those that weren't kind of using it. But yeah, going through my team, and I'll go through my team, and then I'll talk about any decision points. I went for Allison in goal, Sessegnon, Trippier, and Nori as a back three. Diaz, Murphy, Salah, and Palmer as my midfield four, and then Isaac, Jimenez, and Cunha as my front three. So and yeah, kind of like a bench of Jose Sarr, Cliver, Cucurella, and Robinson. Yeah, so I've got to be pretty happy with that. I mean, going through like let's do it back to front. Well, let's do front to back. Sorry. So I think you know, Cunha showed his quality, right? I think again a common theme of this year. I think he beat his underlying stats, but I think that's partly because of just like his ability. Um, yeah, I think Wolves were always a team to target. I think we've said it for months and months that Leicester are by far the weakest team in the league, and it's actually quite amazing that Southampton have less points at the moment. But kind of Cunha came through. Jimenez, I kind of went Jimenez because Muniz was kind of like
Dowd.
injured, right? So it was like, yeah,
Yeah.
Jimenez was going to get minutes, which he did. His underlying stats were actually okay; they were better than others. But yeah, who else? Who did well as a striker? Strand Larson got a
Jackson,
return. Yeah,
Strand
Larson got.
Larson,
Yeah. Um,
Jackson nicked a goal.
Slim pickings though, right up front. So yeah, it's kind of Cunha. And I think Isak was a no brainer, of course, given the fixture and the quality of the player. Into midfield, yeah, kind of Salah was a bit of a no brainer pick. I think Palmer was, despite him underwhelming again. Um,
As a stat for the game week. So I agree, by the way, because he was, although he hasn't really delivered, he was going into the game week last six game weeks of 0.7 expected goals per 90, expected goal involvement per 90, should I say? This was the first game since game week 4 he didn't have a single shot.
Yeah, and I think now is the time I'm thinking moving forward. I'm not desperate to bring him in actually because I think those underlying stats have been going down and down, and like the positioning is out. Yeah, maybe mistake in hindsight. I think going into the week, there was enough there to suggest Palmer was a decent pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Murphy, he got an assist via getting fouled for a penalty, so maybe a little bit fortunate there. I think I preferred Murphy over Barnes. I think there wasn't a huge difference in the points at the end of the day, just because of
Mhm.
the threat of Gordon kind of lurking. And then yeah, Diaz, he started, he scored kind of great. I think that's about par for his fixture. I think that the only real choice I had in midfield that I think kind of called rightly is Cliver. I mean, some people have Semenyo, but I think realistically, anyone free hit would rank Cliver over Semenyo just because of like penalty duties.
Mhm.
People may have Mbumo, so yeah, he's got the ability to come and kind of score a lot tomorrow. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with that kind of midfield for sure. And then obviously the defense is kind of where it's all at, and that's
Dream.
probably the most I've ever scored from from a back
Yeah.
three. So Ain't Nori, I thought
Unbelievable.
because of like the fixture, like the Leicester fixture, who haven't scored scored like one goal in months, right? I think he was a bit of a non-negotiable, right? And with his attacking ability, particularly like
Yeah.
since like the turn of the year, I think everyone realistically should have had him. Like, if they didn't, be random. Same with Trippier, really. I think there's a few industry. Well, he's been playing, right, and then there was some further kind of like injury concerns that meant that his place would just be absolutely nailed. And like the set pieces and the crosses, which is where he got his 2 assists for 15 points,
Yeah.
were obvious. So it's kind of like, so I think he was the obvious pick versus a Livermento or something like that. If you were on free hit, and yeah, Sessegnon, a little bit luckier, right? Because he only put.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? Like maybe if like Robinson was fit, he would have started instead of Wilson, right? He got
Yeah.
that goal right at the end, which was like kind of massive for owners.
9 point swing.
Yeah, his stats were good, but like I kind
Mm.
of well, I went a bit too hard on Fulham, right? Because I think Southampton have been scoring goals, and Fulham themselves are pretty weak. So I think having Jimenez and Sessegnon starting was probably a bit too much, but got fortunate there. And then yeah, I think that it's one of these weeks where like I should be really happy, but like I am thinking what if, and obviously kind of said jokingly going into the week that if you get a keeper to gets a random haul or a penalty save,
Pin
then you'll be
save.
winning. Then you'll be winning, and
Yeah.
then yeah, it was going to be inevitable, really. I think Sarr, like when I was benching Sarr, I was kind of thinking this guy does have a history of saving penalties and getting kind of random returns from scoring goals
Mm.
himself or kind of assists. So I was a little bit annoyed there, but I think if you were comparing both options going into the week, I think Becker was by a whisker slightly better one to pick. So yeah, kind of
Mhm.
tough for that kind of swing. I mean, it was more because like most high owned defensive did well. It was a really interesting week that it was almost pick your selection of players, right?
Yeah.
People at Chelsea had great odds for a clean sheet. They did really well. Sanchez got good points. Cucurella, a few people like looked at him as the best defensive asset there. they did well, of course. Newcastle did well, and there were some goals there for Burn as well. Wolves, of course. So across the board, really, like kind of high-end defenders did really well. So yeah, some people will
Yeah,
have insanely high scores. Like some people will be breaching like 50 points from defenders, right?
just
So
the
they're
from the goalkeeper, absolutely.
pretty mad. So yeah, I've got to be happy with that. I think hindsight, Jimenez, I think was maybe a bit silly. I think his underlying stats were good. Becker, I think statistically he was the expected goals conceded for Liverpool was the lowest, so I guess that was fine. I mean, yeah, Sarr was there, but yeah, I think it's kind of like fine. So I should still be in the top 100K
Yeah,
now.
hopefully,
Game week
hopefully.
35. Kind of a bit annoyed as well because I think in one of our mini leagues we're against each other in a cup, aren't we? And I think well,
We are indeed.
you're guaranteed
We are
still,
indeed.
right? Unless it's a red card from Brumo, like after 1 minute played. I think you're guaranteed to win it. But yeah, like
Well,
a kind of week all round, and like some super big free hit scores. And yeah, I think hopefully people who didn't free hit, they brought in a few of the options that did well, like eight Nori or Cunha. I think would have been a nice route for lots of people to take. So hopefully the gap
yeah,
isn't huge because it's super frustrating when you get that massive swinginess.
yeah. I think you're unlucky with Raul Jimenez. He got expected goal of just over 0.7. So
No, I think
in
well, I
another
think he
game
did
week, he
again. I
gets
think
one.
like all the players did like the ones who blanked did pretty well, all things considered, like Jimenez and Allison. But wasn't to be. I think other players made up through their luck, like the likes of
Yeah.
Cunha, for example. So yeah,
The Sarr issue, the goal, it's obviously saving the pen. I text Kai, long time listener Kai. I was like, I guarantee you've heard it here first. Vardy's going to get a goal this game week. And when they got that
yeah,
pen, I was like, there's Vardy's goal. Then obviously he missed it. What makes it worse is it wasn't even a pen. Not a chance on earth that was a penalty. So those save points shouldn't have happened. But anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, as you say, mate. You've got a game week rank currently of 74,000. Appreciate that'll probably drop after tomorrow. But if you went into this game week thinking you'd break the top 100K, I'm sure you'd have took it. So gotta be happy.
yeah. Spot on, spot on. Let's go to yours. I think some kind of similar team, right? So
Yeah, I'll go around it very quickly, the ones that are different. But you're right, we are actually playing each other in the FPL Apprentice Cup. We've both made it through the last two game weeks. We now play each other. It is 93-93. So you need an Embrumo own goal, a red
yeah,
card, something along those sort of lines. I just need him to get a point, and that's me through. But looking at my differentials, so keeper wise, I ended up going for Kepa over Allison compared
so
to you.
so
Also got Sarr on the bench, by the way, which is a bit of a killer.
so I think you can probably get why I went Allison, right? And kind
You
of
you
like
don't get why
why
I went for Kepa, do you?
I think it's madness that like you didn't pick Sarr,
This
like
nearly this
it's
nearly worked, man. So I'll tell you why. So I played Kepa because I thought United's got their head in Europe. There'll be a bit of a swing. They'll change the team around. United aren't playing for anything in the league. And I thought Bournemouth have got something to play for. They've got an outside chance to get in Europe. So that's why I went for him. I didn't go for Sarr because I didn't trust the Wolves defence enough to have both him and Eight Nori. So I thought we'll go for Kepa. And until
yeah.
the 95th minute, mate, that was working beautifully. The guy had 10 points. And then
I mean,
all of
that
a
would have
sudden,
been a
at
very that would have been a
95th,
very lucky. I know it was
oh
like
yeah,
part because
oh
of
yeah,
Evan Nilsson's like red card, right? But
it would
they
have been
should have
very lucky.
conceded one or two goals at least. They were getting quite battered, right? So
Yeah, expected goal conceded, 2.36. So it would have been a very, very lucky clean
I
sheet.
I
But
mean,
that 90,
again, you wanted to hedge your bets. You wanted to like look at teams you're playing for. I was surprised when I saw Kepa playing instead of Sarr.
I just didn't want to double that defense.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's all it was. And then Sanchez I toyed with, but didn't go for
Yeah,
him in the end. I can't
you
think why I
liked the
didn't go
Chelsea
for him.
defense, right? So you like again Sanchez not being your keeper, then also Cucurella. You said you were definitely going to play him. You obviously started. I think Sessegnon would have been the guy that you brought in. What
I'd have
triggered you
ended
there?
up benching. So that was purely for greed and attacking points.
Yeah.
Sessegnon's getting the goals, Cucurella less so. Just thought I'll play the players that can get the attacking. But yeah, so up until probably 2 hours before deadline, 3 hours before deadline, I think I had Sanchez in net, and then I moved it on to Kepa.
Got
I
it.
don't know why. Just went for it. Just decided. Got that story in my head. United are gonna not really bother, not really try. They've got nothing in the league, so that's what I told myself, and that's why I went for him. But to be other than him, I can have zero complaints. Same backline as you, which is the absolute dream. Salah captain, same as you. Murphy, Diaz, and Palmer. Ended up going Diaz. Wasn't on Diaz for a while, but I looked at it and thought, if there's any team this game week that I can see scoring 4, 5, 6 goals, okay, Newcastle are home to Ipswich, but Liverpool's the other one. So I thought it
Yeah,
was pretty imperative
agreed.
I had to.
Because you had
Um,
Clivert for quite a lot of time, a lot of your drafts, didn't you?
I did. I did. I had him last week, I think, when we were talking through it. He was in the team. But when I looked at, I need to get a second Liverpool attacker in. If I'd have known Trent was going to start, in all honesty, I'd have started Trent and bench Sessegnon. That's what I'd have went for. But not
Mm.
knowing whether he was going to start or Bradley, I thought I'm just going to have to bring in Diaz. And out of the 5 players I had across the midfield, Clivert was the one to make room. And it just meant I could get it. Just made more sense from a structure because it allowed me to just put Evan Nielsen in on the bench as a Bournemouth player, just in case he was to come on. So that's
Yeah,
the reason I ended up getting
I
rid of
like
Clivert.
Mbumo there, like as an option. I think I don't know why I swayed for him. I mean, that looks better. Like there's obviously a better player. It was probably just that Forest away fixture, but Forest have been very bad since January defensively.
Yeah,
So I think
and
yeah, I wouldn't. He's the second highest point scorer in FPL. Right? I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back from that game
second player
with
to break
points.
200. Yeah, this game
Mhm.
this season. But you talked me into him, Boomer, mate, because I looked when we were chatting last week. He was on my bench, and you started reading out the expected goals against Forest for the last
Yeah.
couple of game weeks, and I delved into that a little bit. And over the last 6 game weeks, their defense for expected goals against them is 16th in the division.
Yeah, they've been
So
they've been they've been they've been bad. They've been bad, and you'd think that the start of the match should fit. Like again, we'll see what happens. It should fit in for kind of Mbumo. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Jimenez the player I got in for Mbumo, but I think could have been decent
as I
underlying
say, I think
stats.
you were
But yeah,
unlucky.
it
Don't
seems
think you were unlucky.
team's looking good. So again, like you're on 74k, 93 points. You could be getting over 100 points, like if Mbumo has an attacking return.
Hopefully,
If not, you're
hopefully.
sitting worst case 94, 95. Again, a very solid rank, which is good.
Yeah,
Any
I'm same as you. If I can stay in the top 100
yeah,
going
nice.
into this week, and I'm then looking at but like up next for me is I've got 4 game weeks to go. Do I play my assistant manager game week 35? Do I play it in 36? So
Yeah,
I'm in a position where if I'm still in the top 100k after this game week, surely I've got to use that the assistant manager and think to myself, I can maybe break the top 50. That's
yeah,
probably where I'm at.
100%. Two questions, mate. So three here. Any learns, reflections, observations?
Good question. It's a complete opposite to last season, isn't it? It's like last season, we all got about 15 points on it, and this season, everybody you picked delivered pretty much.
Well, I think
Uh,
well, I've got one, mate. Like
I,
I don't think it's necessarily use it on a double game week, which I think was the conclusion from last week. I think blank game weeks and double game weeks are both great options.
yeah,
Um, pick it when your squad needs it, and then pick where there's just like a raft of like really one-sided fixtures.
yeah,
I mean, this was different from last year where there was like really 50-50 sort of, there was like Brentford, Brighton sort of games. Do you know what I mean? Where it's kind of like
yeah,
very
yeah.
similar teams with similar levels.
Whereas,
Man United,
yeah,
West Ham. I'm making this up, but like it was like those sort of games. Whereas here it was like Newcastle against Ipswich, Liverpool against a free falling Spurs, Wolves against the worst team we've seen in
yeah,
like in many years, and they've been on a really nice run there. Like where they are in the league is a bit of a misrepresentation. So I think yeah, use it when it suits your team, whether in a double or a blank. But like, yeah, play those ones where there's some kind of really ripe fixtures. I think.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, pick the.
Um,
That's what, as you've always taught me, pick the form players that have the fixtures. Simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it.
yeah, I think I missed that with a few people. Any that kind of like mantra. Anyway, but assistant manager, like I think last week from me on your team, you just got that chip um, to play. So what's your rank aspiration? Because that could be very powerful. And who are
Yeah.
you targeting and when? I've got a view of,
So,
of what you should be doing, what I would be doing, but yeah,
so
be good to hear your thoughts.
we'll see how Mbuma gets on tomorrow. But if I stay in the top 100k, I want to use that over 3 game weeks. I'd like to pick up 25 points minimum.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, even if you pick them, if like so, I worked it out. If you pick Man City, the minimum and they win, the minimum amount of points you're getting for Guardiola is 8, 6 for the win, and then if they win 2-1, there's 8 points. If they get a clean sheet, it's a minimum of 9. So I'm hoping to get, even if you just scrape wins, there's 24 if you get 3 of them. So yeah, I'd like to get at least 25 points. I think that alongside the rest of my squad, if I can push and get top 50k, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
In terms of when I'm thinking of playing it, this game week doesn't really work for me. The only real team that can get bonus is Crystal Palace. And I think they've got Villa, right? If I'm not mistaken. Are they playing Villa again? No, they're playing Forest. Correct me, I'm wrong. But he's the only actual manager that I can see maybe getting a result against a team higher, Palace versus Forest. But after their FA Cup escapade, so are they really going to be up for the league? Is it going to be? Yeah, I'm not convinced by it. So I think I might hold off, mate. Wait for more data, get a second transfer in the bag because I'm going to have to make a transfer to be able to afford myself a manager.
Mm.
And then play a 36, 37, 38. Who on
Yeah.
teams that have something to play for? So Man City, I'd definitely be taking Pep as an option. He's probably top on my list, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'd say
Maybe
forget him
maybe
really
Emery.
when you're playing it. Yeah, I think 36, 37, 38 is probably the best time. It's probably Man City, and the benefit there is you don't have to jump between different managers, right? You can
Yeah.
improve your squad with free transfers as well without taking hits. So, yeah, I agree.
Big Pep. That means I do have to sell a City player, which we'll come on to. But yeah,
Oh,
good game week for us both, mate. Good game week for us both. The rest of the pod, or the next section of the pod, is really about focusing on the running. 4 game weeks left. Who should we be targeting? And we'll start. We haven't done the fixture ticker for a while, Matt. So nice to bring it back. Here comes the defensive ticker. And realistically, Ipswich and Leicester at the top. I can't see you bringing in any of their defenders.
no.
I don't think so.
I like, and obviously because it's such a small window now, right? If you're playing one of the relegated teams, particularly at home, you're going to be sitting on here. So, I like Everton. I like Man City. Forest is a shout as well. So yeah.
Yeah, Forest, if they can rediscover that form. I've looked at, we've looked at here. Brentford, fifth on the ticker. Man United at home, who are surely in the middle of their European fixture against Bilbao, they're going to rest some players, right? Then they've got Ipswich,
I
Fulham
don't
at
know.
home.
I think that team and manager needs to perform and try and win every match, right?
Do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not. I think Brentford will beat United fairly comfortably, but there's a. Have you seen Collins this season? When I was doing some research for this, mate, I haven't really looked at any Brentford defenders, but Collins is 4.5 million, right? He's played 90 minutes every game. He's
Yeah.
got 2 goals and 6 assists.
Mhm. Um,
That's
I
like
think I think
I've missed him all season.
Brentford. I'm probably biased because for good amounts of the season I've had Flecken as a goalkeeper and Vandenberg, right? And I think when you look at these like analytics style things where it's like your expected points or your expected goal style points versus your actual points. That kind of coincided with like some dark days for me, FPL. So I might be biased. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Like all of those games, you would not worry about starting a Brentford player. Whereas like
No.
Everton, you'd have a problem against Newcastle, last game of the week away, last game week of the year. Man City, you'd be able to play all that. You'd be able to start
Yeah.
their defenders every single week. Yeah, I guess Brentford an interesting name.
I'm just trying to talk myself into it, mate, because I might need to downgrade one of my City defenders to Collins to be able to afford Vadio, Pep. So I'm just trying to talk myself into it. You said last week Man City double up Diaz and Gvardiol are be the two you'd go for based on them being sixth on the ticker. Is that still where your head's at?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, nice. Well, the informed defenders, just in case it's of interest. The last 6 game weeks, top for expected FPL points across the board. Ain't Nori is top.
Yeah.
Obviously, Wolves aren't on the ticker, but he's miles ahead, by the way. 38.17 expected points. Second place is 31.92,
Wow.
and it's Sessegnon. So Ain't Nori is miles ahead. And then it's Dan Burn. Dan Burn in third, despite his own goal. Well, there you go. They're the top performers. Onto the attack, mate. So again, Everton, Leicester, 1 and 2. I'm assuming their teams you're going to dodge because they don't score a lot of goals. And then we kick in with Brentford and City, which you might want 1 or 2 from, I'd assume.
No, exactly. So Everton a tough one, really. I don't think, unless you're on wild card, right, which is a bit of a different strategy. I think you wouldn't really be considering any Everton players. Likewise, Leicester, unless you're desperate to bring in Vardy for whatever reason. But yeah, Brentford, obviously, Visser and Mbeumo will be on a lot of people's lists if they don't already have them, which would have been a good move for a lot of people to have done in game 34, which you followed that path, so fair play. Man City, at the most, probably Marmoush or no one is quite a difficult one to predict around who's the next best option after maybe De Bruyne, but it's a lot of money really for kind of uncertainty there. But yeah, kind of like Visser and kind of Mbeumo, Marmoush, of course. Ipswich won't really go there. West Ham, you see Bowen scoring a fair amount of points on that run of fixtures. That's nice. Forest, Chris Wood again, lots to play for. Yeah, Bournemouth, Arsenal is mixed fixtures at best, right? Bournemouth
Yeah, I'm
especially. Bournemouth, you'd
surprised.
be bringing them for the last game week of the year, right? If in game week 38, if they got something to play for. Similar to
Shocked
Arsenal,
that.
I think Arsenal actually have a really bad run, right? I think that
Yeah.
last fixture makes it a little bit better, but Bournemouth home in the midst of the Champions League semi-finals, then Liverpool away, Newcastle home. That's not great.
No, it's not. And it's I think you're right. I think that Leicester and Southampton, and as soon as you play any of those bottom 3 at home, now that they've changed the FDR so that it now ranks as a 1, I think it's really swaying it.
Yeah.
Because Bournemouth, 4 games left, away at Arsenal, away at City is 2 of them. I can't. Like, I'm going nowhere near them until
No,
as you
agreed.
say, maybe a punt in 38. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on the picks. And Arsenal are a weird one, right? We've both got Saka. They've got Bournemouth at home, Newcastle home. Saka's the sort of player that can score in any game, right? But he's a real minutes issue. Like, what are you thinking of doing with him?
Why do you think it's a minutes issue?
Just because he keeps getting benched whilst they're in the Champions League. And I'm assuming this weekend, as the 1-0 down, could be another
He's
week.
come back from an injury, right? So he's only been benched once because he was like injured, right? So he came back. He was getting brought back to fitness. He was coming off the bench and getting goals, and then he started his first game. Then he got
You've got a little knock
fouled.
again.
Then he got fouled, didn't he? At like 30 minutes, and he came off at 59. And then it was like he's fit enough to make the bench. So came up for small minutes, and then he's played 90 against PSG, right? So that was just like his return to kind of fitness. Saying that, I expect him to be a minute's risk for Bournemouth.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
yeah.
Keep him fresh for PSG.
But it was more like he was just kind of returning from a long injury and then got like semi-injured, like in that first game that he was it was Greaves, wasn't it, I think, in
Mm,
that Ipswich game.
yeah.
So yeah, I think he's a minute's risking 35. Um, it's a call then. Does he start? He could start and come off early, right? He could
Yeah.
just get rested completely. Um, Give me 36 and 38. I think he's a good option. Well,
36
unless
onwards.
Arsenal progress, of course.
Yeah. And to be honest, Liverpool are on a beach, right? They won the league.
Um,
So they're not gonna,
but
I
like,
wouldn't be going for any Liverpool players right now.
no, but like, yeah, obviously, if you were kind of comparing Mbeumo to Saka, you'd rather Mbeumo at the moment.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, I think he's not a must sell.
No, fair play. Well, the top performing attackers, midfielder. See if you can guess. Who do you reckon is top for expected points over the last 6 game weeks from a midfield perspective?
Oh, last six.
It's tough.
Murphy, right? Or Barnes?
He's nailed 1 and 2. Barnes 1, Murphy 2, and there's not much in it. 39 for Barnes, 37 for Murphy. Diaz then with 32. Go on, see if you can do it for the forwards.
Forwards. Um, Isaac, Vizor, Cunha.
Isaac's 4th.
Okay.
So one's apparently Marmouche.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah, so Marmouche, and considering he's on form and City are 4th in the table, seems a must-have. Strand Larsen's 2nd, and then Evan Nielsen's in 3rd. But as we've just spoke about their fixtures, probably not a definite to jump on, but maybe hold if you've got them.
Oh, I
Yeah,
mean,
Marmouche.
this week you wouldn't want Evan Nelson, but from an attacking point of view, Villa at home, City away, Leicester at home, I think is not a bad run at all.
Yeah. That's even City.
Yeah, of course, like yeah.
Yeah. They do like to concede odd goals when they win
Well,
4-1.
they've been a lot better
Uh,
recently, but
yeah. I've had a few clean sheets from their double, to be fair. But yeah, moving on to the picks for the run-in. So at this point, Matt, we'll just go through each position. This is the expected points according to Fix over the remainder of the season. So who's jumping out at you?
yeah, I think that's a fair reflection for goalkeepers, right? So we've got Edison top, then Sells, Raya, Allison, Flecken, Pickford. I don't think you'd go beyond underneath Pickford. Yeah, I think that's a fair reflection. I don't think there's like a lot of people will have entry points to these keepers anyway. I mean there's better ways to make up points between now and the end of the season
Yeah,
rather than mess around with keeper
that's right with
transfers.
keepers. No, I agree. It's you can only keep one clean sheet, right? Unless you're
Well,
Edison and getting
you can also
left,
save
right, and centre.
penalties. Yeah.
True. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
save pens. Luckily, but yeah, Edison and Sells both on the fixture ticker for defence as well, which is
Yeah.
pretty good to see them up near the top. So is Flecken, but I'm assuming you don't want to go back there because you've been burnt too much. But I agree. I don't
I
think
don't
anyone's
go
going
there
to mess
'cause I've
around
got
with the
Raya
goals
who's
because
predicted more, but like yeah,
for more.
I think it's like marginal gains, but all the keepers are quite clustered, right? So like to
Yeah,
life, Edison expected to score 16.4 according to Fix the next four. Then it's like
yeah,
what a margin of 1 point over 4 game weeks when you go down to Pickford, who's like the seventh best option there. So yeah, I mean it's marginal at best, right?
yeah. So let's move. Let's go to the defence. So it's a little bit more, well, very close up again. But looking at the picks here, it's a fair few. O'Brien, Ruben Diaz, Gvardiol, a few from City, quite a few from Forest in there. Ina Mikalenkovic, a couple from Everton, Branthwaite and
Yeah.
Mikalenko.
I like the Everton options as cheap options. So like yeah, kind of O'Brien and Mikalenko particularly stand out there. They're nice rotation options if you're looking to free up some cash for whatever reason. Um, Again, there's not
Loads of points in it.
yeah Saliba's top, but I think that's again. I'd probably say the City defenders. I'd have including Vardiol, but also Diaz. I'd be having them above Saliba. If Saliba's appearing, like surely Kyrgios should be appearing as well. given
And by
um,
far, no, it's about £1.8 million cheaper.
yeah. Um, yeah, again, like
Forest,
there's nothing too inspiring here, right? So I
no,
think, yeah,
true. But you get a
if you're going to save some money, I
City.
think, yeah, Everton are good options. Otherwise, yeah, the standard ones, Nottingham Forest come back on
City
the
players.
radar now, game week 36
Yeah,
onwards, particularly, and yeah, Man City and Arsenal. I won't be forcing
yeah,
any moves. No one's standing out here like as a must-own.
yeah. What about the mids then? Let's move on to them. Salah top, unsurprisingly, are way out ahead, but I'm pretty sure everybody that's listening to this will probably have Salah. And then Mbumo second. I know you're a big fan of him and the fixtures
Yeah,
they've got.
yeah, this is where it's more interesting, right? You can just see here the points differences. Like Salah in the next 4 game weeks is expected to score 28.3. If you go down to a random person, Bowen, right? What's he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the sixth most expected points for a midfielder in the next 4 according to Fix. He's 18, right? So that's a points difference of 10. So this is where you should be spending your transfers, right? There's getting like
Yeah,
optimal players here, right? So Salah, yeah, feels like a non-negotiable, right? I guess like be going for like goals, right? And kind of those sort of things. I think I still quite like Liverpool from an attacking point of view, and I imagine he's still going to play every game and most minutes. Yeah, Mbumo stands out as a fantastic option. Um, agree with that, and like worry, yeah, kind of owners should feel quite happy with that. Non-owners should be looking for a plan to get him in ASAP. De Bruyne and Palmer next.
yeah.
De Bruyne's a
Big,
tough one, really.
expensive players.
Mm.
Didn't play a minute in the FA Cup, De Bruyne.
Would I prefer De Bruyne for than Saka? I don't know.
Yeah, didn't play a minute. I don't know whether that's because Pep sees him
Uh,
just playing in the Premier
I
League, but
I don't like De
that's
Bruyne,
interesting.
nor do I like Palmer at the moment. We spoke about Palmer earlier. Then it kind of changed a bit. I like Clivert a lot. I like Bowen a lot. Um, yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, Salah and Bumo, Clivert plus insert any other like midfielder choice
Yeah.
from Bournemouth. Bowen, I like them as options. Yeah,
It's interesting to see Shard on there as well. It clearly
yeah,
shows the fixtures Bournemouth have, Brentford have even. And then I also thought it was quite interesting. Martinelli and Odegaard on the list. Saka isn't.
I
So
imagine it's
fixtures
just a minutes
doing it.
thing, right?
Yeah.
But like equally, those guys could be benched. So
But yeah, absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely good. But there you
yeah,
go. So midfielders, you're looking at Salah and Bumo, Clivert, potentially Bowen and another. Uh,
yeah.
Forward time.
I certainly
Again,
wouldn't want to
Chris
be
Wood.
wild carding at this moment, though. Like, there's nothing majorly inspiring, right?
Yeah. Well,
Um,
yeah, you're right. But Wissa also near the top of this. Would you consider that little double up, Wissa and Dembumo?
yeah, defo. So yeah, forwards like Wood is top. This Haaland, with the assumption he's coming back, game week 36. Isaac, Cunha, Marmoush, Strand Larson, Mateta. This is an interesting list, right? So yeah, Wood does interest me. I think Vissa most definitely does. Haaland until he's actually back in the squad, not really. Um, I wouldn't force it. I wouldn't force a kind of Haaland route, right? I think Marmoush was
Yeah.
matching him whilst they were playing together. Isak's perfectly fine. A lot of people have him, so there's no need to get rid of him. Cunha, I kind of like, of course, but that'd be a game week 36 move. Marmoush like a lot. Yeah, like there's a nice variety of strikers here that are looking pretty good. Um,
Yes, swing's quite interesting because even on the last page when we were looking, there was a few players in 35, maybe not such great options, but as soon
no,
as
I
they
agree. I agree.
fix,
It's
it's a swing.
Forest get good game week 36 onwards, as do um,
Wolves, maybe
Wolves
jump
have a
onto
little bit of a
this.
swing as well.
Mm.
Yes, I think Bournemouth will be as well. Bournemouth don't appear here, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Evan Nilsson's probably assumed banned. Evan Nilsson is the player that doesn't appear here.
yeah, yeah.
I'd be ramming him up in the top 4. Like if I like Visser, I like Evan Nilsson, I like Marmoush. and Isak for the end of the season. I think for strikers, those would be my top bets.
Nice.
I'm a Mateta owner. I don't really love him. I think he could be on the chopping block for me just because of like FA Cup as well.
Yeah, yeah,
I think caveat, we haven't had the announcements of fixtures and whether there could be a small double game week in 36 or not, and if there would be a
yeah,
blank in 37. We'll assume for the time being not, right?
yeah.
But that could change things, right?
I'm praying. I'm praying for one. It'd be perfect for me and the assistant manager chip if there's another double, but I don't think it'll happen. But no, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go. That's the that's that. So we're going to move on to captain choice, mate, because this I don't think is a foregone conclusion. It won't surprise you to see Salah top of expected points for the game week with 6.7. But he's away at Chelsea. Liverpool maybe have a hangover. Last when they won the league in
Yeah.
2020, they played Man City next and lost 4-1. Not saying that that's going to happen again this time, but I think there's a real argument for the likes of Mbumo at home to United, even Isaac away at Brighton, to really go somewhere else. What like where's your head at?
I think Mbumo and Marmoush are better options than Salah this week.
Marmoush. Yeah, yeah. Marmoush has
Um,
got Wolves at home, right?
yeah, and like I don't think Chelsea are great, but like statistically, what's that? Your expected goals conceded. What's that based on what time period?
I'm sorry, last six home games for Chelsea. Chelsea at home.
Okay. Um, they've been okay defensively, right? They've been conceding goals, but not many. On the flip side, I don't think Salah's been great again recently. So yeah, I think Marmoush and Mbumo, particularly Mbumo against Man United at home, are probably better options.
Yeah, yeah. Is that what you? Do you own any? You own Marmoush, don't you? So you've got at
Oh,
least one of
Marmoush,
those in
yeah.
the team.
Yeah, I think I've got Marmoush as captain now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at the defenses they're playing. United on that list are the worst defense. So I can see the benefit again in Boomer in. So gun to
Yeah,
your head,
none
you
of them
own
are great.
Mbeumo,
None
mate.
of them are brilliant fixtures, right? But
Yeah.
I think that's enough to say that there's a decision to be made.
If you had a gun to your head, you've got you buy Mbumo this week. Which one are you nailing?
I captain and Boomer, yeah.
If you had him, there you go. Mbumo, pick Mbumo. He'll be on the thumbnail. So it's like we
Oh,
planned that,
nice.
pal. We're looking into game 35 reveals. You've kind of hinted at it a little bit, but we'll start with yourself, mate. There is your team. What is
Yeah.
happening?
I think the good news is that the team isn't a disaster, right? Which was always the worry that like you've dead ended your team into a free hit. You've only got one free transfer then to play around with, and then it's like awful. I think my team is fine, like really. So back to front, yeah, Raya and goal, home to Bournemouth, that's fine. I've currently got Kiwior home to Bournemouth. I probably would play Conser over him now, home to Fulham, just because you know Arsenal may be rotating the Champions
Yeah,
League, and also Aston Villa got something to play for. Aston Villa have been good defensively at home. Fulham been bad from an attacking point of view, right? So I might switch Kiwior to Conser. I don't think either of them have really much attacking threat. I know Kiwior scored recently, but I might swap them around. Gvardiol is a no-brainer. Munoz, I think he's a no-brainer as well. Midfield, Rogers, Salah's my captain here at the moment, but I think if I was to keep the structure here, it'd probably Marmoush. Sarah's fine. I've currently got Saka, who's a minute's risk for sure. Then I've probably got Isaac, Marmoush, and Mateta. So it's not great, but yeah, there's a lot of home games there, and like it's fine. Other decisions, I think I've kind of said this structure I'd captain Marmoush over Salah. I've also, yeah, I said I've moved Concert to start over Kiwior, I think. Savino is an interesting one because if I want to run the bet that he's going to play and start, that could
mm,
be quite interesting, right? I think
yeah,
there's a conversation. I think he started the FA Cup semi final and he didn't score or get an attack and return, but did okay. So yeah, he may
yeah,
play. So I might run a roll the dice and play Savino. But then yeah, on to so there's a few decisions to make around the edges of my squad. I don't think they're going to be game changers. Two real options I got in terms of transfers, I think, in my opinion. So one is Saka, given his rotation and minutes risk going into this game. And then he's got Liverpool and then Newcastle before a Southampton game. Probably moving him to Mbumo is the sensible option, right? If I had 2 transfers, I'd be able to have a bit more fun. I could consider this for a hit still, right? So I've got just enough funds to move Savinho to Mbumo and Mateta to Visa. Likewise, I could move Mateta down to Evan Nilsson, but it's not a great game to have an entry point. That would be for a -4, right? So I think it probably doesn't justify it, but that would be an upgrade and allow me to keep Saka like the longer term, and means that hey, if I want to bring another City player, I've got rid of Savinho, who will be a problem eventually, right? Because of his minutes risk, right? So I've got a lot of options. Most realistic will probably be either roll or change Saka to Mbumo. If I want to play around, I can move Mateta to Visa, Savinho to Mbumo. If price changes don't kind of change, I'll of course want to wait to hear the fixture announcements, right? Because if Palace have a double, I'd probably want to be keeping Mateta, of course, so he's not an out option.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like a few decisions to make.
You're right. So I think the starting 11 as it is pretty solid. If you do decide to roll the dice with Savinho, who are you benching?
Saka, but then who would I bench if I bring in Mbumo for Saka? I'd keep Savinho on my bench, I think.
Yeah, roll the dice.
Yeah. I mean, it's super tight between Savinho, Mateta, and Sarr.
Yeah.
Mateta might be the worst option, actually.
It's again, Forest are season-wise, not so much recently, but season-wise, a really solid defense. Hence why they're 5th in the league or wherever they are, right? So you can see.
I'll have to look into Savinho, like how many minutes
game.
has he been getting when he's been coming on? Because there's a few games where he's just stayed benched, which is good because he either starts or doesn't. And there's been a few like 30-minute cameos, which is not bad. You just don't want a 10-minute run out.
Yeah. Last 7 minutes, just to ruin it, especially if somebody really nice is on your bench.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fun. Well, to be honest with you, mate, mine's not too much different. So one free transfer for me too on the back of the free hit, 0.2 million in the bank. Pretty happy with the defence. I'll probably just leave that as it is.
Yep.
Kouyaté Red double Arsenal at home to Bournemouth, and then Diaz and Gvardiol at home to Wolves. So it's either going to be a really good Friday or a double defence out straight off the bat to kill my week. And then my midfield, similar to yours, also have Salah, Saka, and Rodgers, but I've bench Sarr and I am playing Mbumo. And then up top, Isaac and Mateta, Marmoush, current captain on Marmoush, might make it Mbumo. Playing that on the fixtures, but Salah, right? So I might bottle it at the end, but I like the others for their fixture reasons. But to be honest with you, mate, I think the sensible and boring play for me is leave that squad as it is, roll the transfer, see how a set up in game week 36. Having that extra free transfer in that game week and having 2 will allow me a much better position in using those transfers to get the money to get myself my assistant manager. So I think that's what I'll end up doing. But I might still play Sarr and bench Saka because I just don't see
I
Saka
think that's
starting that game.
and likewise Conser versus Kiwi. I think there's a decision to be had there. Given our squads look so similar, I think yours looks a lot better. Literally, because like you've got Ruben Diaz, I've got Savinho, right? I think that defense just looks like super solid. Got no minutes risk, kind of gives a really nice structure then for the rest of the team. So and you've also got Mbumo like in your squad anyway. So yeah, I think you'll set up really nicely. Those differences between the team are quite massive.
Just play boring, roll.
Yeah, you've got to roll.
Yeah, I think that's unless an injury happens tomorrow, of course, to Mbumo and it forces my hand. But we'll see. Hopefully not. Touch wood. He gets a goal, and I can take you out the cup. But moving on to the FPL mini league, we haven't looked at this for a little while, and we have for the first time Josh Woods in number one with Rice and Eze, which is a really good name. I do like a pun. Well done for that one. 101 points for the game week so far, thanks to the Dream
Wow.
defense, the same three people that we had. 8 Nori, Trippier, and Sessegnon. Also had Sanchez in goal, which give him the 9 points there. Cunha, Salah, all the big players. So a big point score. Overall rank for Josh, 3,300. Sorry, 3,500 and 35th in the world. So having an absolute stellar season there, Josh. Josh, you are currently on to giving one of me or Matt, whichever of us lose Matt versus Dave, a forfeit for next season. So keep yourself up there if you want to do that. 84 in the league, Matt. You are currently 18th, not far off that
Nice.
top 10, and I am 22nd. So yeah, we're climbing. We're climbing. For anybody that's listening that wants to join the mini league, you can do so with the code T27ZGC. That's Tango 27 Zulu Golf Charlie. But yeah, we'll see how that ends up, and we will finish on Matt versus Dave. So currently, Josh is going to punish one of us, and it's currently me, mate, because you had a stellar game week 33 pick. Bruno got you nothing, but Tonali got me nothing, so they basically cancelled each other out for Newcastle. So it was Sessegnon versus Evan Nielsen. You pulled out a 95th minute goal with 3 bonus points, giving you 11. When Evan Nielsen got that assist early doors, I was like, oh, I've got a
Yeah.
chance here. And then he got sent off, and the chance went. So even if it does get rescinded on the game, I'll only get to 5 points, mate. So you have very much won the game week, taking it to 14-13 in your direction. 4 game weeks to go. So I get
Tight.
to pick first. Yeah, I think this happened last season, and then in the last couple of game weeks, you won them all. So it kind of it didn't look as close as it was all the way through. So hopefully that doesn't happen again this season. But I will. I'm going to target a fixture, mate. I'm going to target, and it's not a team that you'd expect me to maybe pick from, but I am targeting Leicester versus Southampton. I just
Yep.
think there's something in Jamie Vardy's 4.5% owned. And I think it's purely a point. The guy hasn't got a return since game week 23, right? So his form's
Mm.
shocking. But this whole I'm retiring at the end of the season, I think that team is just going to try and put everything on a plate for the guy. And if there's going to be a game he can get a return, it's at home to Southampton. So I'm taking a real punt on him. But I'm going to start with Jamie Vardy.
No, I like it. I like it. Yeah, bring back the memories. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
a nice one. I'm gonna go again. Just a kind of fixture from pretty much like the first game week for us. So I'm gonna let's go Evan Nilsson, right? I know he's playing Arsenal, but I think it's too good not to ignore.
Yeah. And then you've got to think that Arsenal have eyes on PSG, right?
Yeah,
League's done.
exactly, exactly.
So you
Yeah,
can see him getting something. 4.3% owned Evan Nielsen, so it's a nice differential. But yeah, good pick. And then it's struggle after that. I had maybe Trossard in my head, but worry he might get a bench and a rest ahead of PSG. I'm going for your I think I'm gonna go for your dice man. I'm gonna roll the dice with you, mate. I'm gonna go Savinho, 2.9%
no,
owned,
yeah,
home to
okay.
Wolves. Um No, I don't want to pick a team that have something to play for. Man City definitely do want to make sure they get into that top 5, cement their place in the Champions League. And his expected goal involvement per 90 data this season for Savinho is 0.56. So he's putting up the numbers. So for that reason, I will go for Savinho.
Yeah, I'd be cautious with that one, but not a bad pick. I actually thought there was quite a lot of options, right? So I was thinking Decore could be quite nice. He's been putting up
Okay.
some okay numbers recently, and obviously he's got Ipswich at home. I like Nwaneri for
Yeah,
Arsenal,
yeah.
so I'm going
Can
to
see
assume
that being a
he's
start.
going to get some decent minutes, if not start, probably start. But I'm going to go for a completely new name. He actually appeared on expected points scores for the rest of the season. He's been playing 90 pretty much for the last 10, 15 game weeks. Been getting okay returns there. 7 goals, 4 assists for the season. Kevin Chard from Brentford.
Shard. I mean, I don't know what his ownership is, but I'm assuming it's definitely less than
That's
5%.
that's something to
I'm not
check.
even going to
Given
look.
I'm assuming because I've never seen in anyone's team ever. that he's going to
I'm
be
going to
super
take a.
low. Let me double check that.
I'm going to stab at 1.2%. He'll be less than 5, no question about it. 1.2, somewhere along those
0.7%.
sort of lines. 1.7.
0.7.
Oh, 0.7, less
Yeah.
than 1%.
Yeah,
Oh,
and he's got 112 points in the year, 7 goals, 4 assists. He's started the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, last 11 games he's started. So not really done
just played a
much
Man
since
United
starting. He's
side,
got
right?
2 goals in that period, but he's not in form. However, yeah, why not? I think
Why not, indeed? And that's what this part's all about, the fun, right? And he's got a United team that's again likely got one eye on Europe. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't mind that at all, mate. I don't mind that pick at all. So Evan Nielsen and Shard for you, Vardy and Savinho for me. I don't know whether they're good picks or not, but when I read them out, I'm just like,
Yeah.
eh. But hey, there it is. There it is. It's Evan Nielsen and Shard versus Vardy and Savinho. Hopefully, we go to 14 each and we can keep the anticipation till the end of the season. Problem is, if you win this one, I need to win the next 3 to win. You only need one of the last 3. So
Pressure.
hopefully, we go to 14 each.
Yeah.
But we will see next week. And that brings us to the end, Matt. How are you feeling overall, out of interest?
What was
FPL,
life?
have you enjoyed the
I
season?
feel.
4 weeks to go?
Um, eh, it's been all right. There's been a lot of green arrows. Like I think I'm on 12 or 13 in a row, and I think before that I just had 1 red or 2 reds in a row, and then there was another like 10 game weeks in a row. So there's been a lot of green arrows, which has been good. And there's been a few differentials that have been like or like um, opportunities that didn't really come through as much. So I'm thinking Isak as a triple captain a few game weeks ago, a bench boost which kind of like brought in 4 or 5 points, even a free hit with like Saar. There's kind of opportunities there that have been left on. So I'd love to have been close to like 50k with those things, if not kind of sub 50k. But yeah, like it's been a cool season. I think it's been one where I was not trying to screw up. Like last year, I did some big cock ups in the run in. I'd need a good start next year. I haven't had one for ages. I've kind of like
It was
really
amazing.
had like a tough period, like September to like November, the last like 2 years. So don't know how you solve that, but yeah,
Stop
it's
doing
been
podcasts with Dave.
it's been all right. I think you're in a good position to win our battle though. Like Umbumo, like what are you 10 points behind me now or less?
7 behind.
7, and you've got Umbumo left, so that would be 5 points, or you could be ahead by game week 35 deadline, and then you've got the assistant manager
Assistant
chip, and our
manager.
teams are looking very similar. So I think like you're looking in a good place for a top 50k finish. I think,
Hopefully.
given
Hopefully. I
you've
said
got like
last week.
key players now, you've got the key players for the running, as in you've got City defense, Marmoush, Mbumo, Salah. You've got that you're well represented there. So yeah, I think top 50k is achievable for you, which I think is good. Obviously, your season's been a bit more up and down versus mine, so you might
Yeah,
be thinking, it could have been a
top 10. I said last week, mate, top if I can get top 100 again, I was the week
yeah,
before, just to get 3 top 100Ks in a row for the first time. Would have been enough. But now I'm getting greedy now. Now I'm in the top 100K and I've still got the assistant manager chip. And I'm assuming most people ahead of me I've used all of their chips. I'm getting a
yeah,
bit greedy. You said last week you just, or it might have been the week before again, you just want to not get your worst rank. I think your worst rank's 117K. And by the
yeah.
way,
What's
after 10
whatever what's
seasons,
whatever I finished last year? Like, what is that? That was
I think it's 117 if I'm not mistaken. But
something
after
like that.
10 seasons, mate, for that to be your worst rank, and the only time you finished outside the top 50K, that's pretty impressive stuff. But now you're back in the top 100K, you're 82,000. What's your
Yeah,
goals?
stay. I think again, stay in the top 100k. I think for the time being, I think it just looks neat in your game week hit your rank history, doesn't
Yeah.
it? When you look at people's people's pages.
5 digits,
So
5 digits and lower.
last year 113 was kind of where I was at, which is the worst. So I think come the end of this week, I'll probably be 90k, maybe depends what Mbumo does, right? So I could be sub 100k, like if it does go off, and then without a chip and without an optimal team structure as well, I'm missing a few kind of key players. I think it's going to be a slightly tough run-in. So if I can gain rank the last couple of weeks, I'll be happy. So I think probably like remain as sub 100k is the slash.
Is the aim.
Don't get my worst rank kind of ever is probably the revised objective. I think there was more ambitious targets, which like a few weeks ago were achievable, like sub 50. I think the ship has sailed there, just with the average triple captain, poor bench boost, and then the free hit was great, of course, but like I think other people's free hit teams did do better. So I think that ship has sailed now. So sub 100k would be cool, given where I started the year.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, 12, 13 greens in a row. So been a really strong second half of the season for you, mates. Let's hope.
Where are you, mate? In because I think there's what's it called? There's like a second chance league in there.
Oh yeah, you'll be. Let's check that out whilst you're on that. You will be way ahead of me on that, I imagine.
So I'm 43k on that. So that's what starting January the 1st, right? I'm 43k on that. You started strong, didn't you?
I did. I had a really strong. I'm on the second. I'm a 408,000.
Oh man, tough.
I had a much better, much better. But everybody else has played their assistant manager in the second half.
You could be artificially like 30 points behind everyone.
In theory, because of that chip. So I don't think that'd take me to anywhere near your rank, by the way, in that second chance. But it could bring me into the top 200k.
Well, you could quite easily be if you kind of do well. If you get like 30, 35 points, your real like rank now would be 33k. That's not bad, is it? That's not bad, is it? Yeah, look at that.
I'll take it. I will take that all day long. 25k would be nice.
You got hopefully like a double game week fixture to kind of like help. Otherwise, it's going to be probably a bit tougher to get those 30
Tottenham,
plus.
I believe Tottenham are trying to ask Villa to move a fixture just in case they get to the Europa League final.
Well, Villa said no, so
Villa have said no. I know. I saw Villa say no. We're not moving it. I was like, come on, Villa, do me a solid, man. Because I'd have very much been on Emre, but that's not going to happen. So we'll see. But yeah, good game weeks for us both. We'll see how we fared for the last 4 game weeks as we do them. But as always, mate, I appreciate your time. We'll catch up next week. Following this, don't miss the deadline. Everybody that's listening, do not miss the deadline. There is a game on Friday evening. Manchester City play Wolves. So make sure to get your team done by 6 o'clock, I believe it is, on Friday. Just make sure it's done by Friday, by the time you go home from work. Do not wait until Saturday morning. So make sure. Don't miss it. Don't miss it, Matt. But appreciate your time, mate.
Exciting one as well. Get your captaincy right as well, isn't it? There's like a 4-way conversation, which is fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope for another Mbeumo 18 pointer.
Well, you're on
Not just because it's against United. I'm on my moosh at the minute. We'll see what happens. I might change that. But yeah, the problem is that now that I've just said it out loud, City first game. Like I don't like my captain in game 1 because it could ruin your weekend. But again, Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time as always. We'll catch up next week ahead of game week 36. But best of luck with whatever you decide to do, mate.
Thank you, mate. You too.
Thank you kindly. And thank you, the listener, for joining us. If you have learned anything, then please do give us a like and subscribe. It is free to do. It's just a nice way of saying thank you to Matt and I. So if you could do that, that would be amazing. We're hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the season. We're not too far away. So please help us to get there. And it'd be pretty cool of you. But whatever you decide to do with your own team as well, may your arrows be green. And we will catch up with you